The number cannot be reached now. Please hang up and try again later.
Hey, welcome back to the His Loss Hotline, where we turn emotional breakdowns into think pieces and X's into character studies. I'm Kelly, obviously, your favorite divorced friend, and the woman who finally realized being chosen isn't the same as being happy. Took me a long time to get there, though. But today we're gonna spiral in style. Apparently, it's embarrassing to have a boyfriend now. Yes, I am talking about the actual headline from British Vogue, and honestly, it sent me. It sent me so hard. It literally, the internet lost their fucking minds last week, and we're here to talk about it. Because truly, I read the piece, and if you haven't, please go check it out. It's by Chanté, I'm so sorry if I'm saying that wrong, Joseph from British Vogue, because the piece wasn't just talking about oh, ha ha ha, boyfriends are cringe. It really talked about societal issues and something very much bigger, of that being single isn't sad anymore, and being partnered isn't the ultimate achievement we were raised to believe it was. So this episode is about why that shift matters, why singlehood was ever treated like failure. I'm still working through that mentally, but we're getting there, girly pops, and how that shame is finally cracking, and why decentering men might be the quiet revolution us girlies have been waiting for. So let's get into it. So the article written by Chanté Joseph for British Vogue is titled, "Is Having a Boyfriend Embarrassing Now?" And she really digs into the fascinating new energy online of women posting their partners less or not at all. They're cropping them out. Well, we're cropping them out. Kind of the soft launching that we were talking about way back in I don't even know, episode 3. Episode 4. Girl, I can't even keep any of this shit straight. But they're soft launching them with elbows or beer glasses, or hiding them classified documents, truly. But the point isn't secrecy. It's kind of self-preservation in a way. So Joseph writes, being partnered doesn't affirm your womanhood anymore. It is no longer considered an achievement. And I think that line is sickening and so amazing because for decades, us women, we were taught that being chosen was the win, that women with a boyfriend is a woman who's figured it out, or a woman who's married has it all going for her. And meanwhile, single women were treated like we were just waiting for the main story to start. And now there's this generational shift, which I think there should have been all along, where everyone's wait, maybe the story has never been about being chosen. And as cliche and stupid as it sounds, but maybe it's about choosing ourselves. With the viralness of this article, Vogue India also had women write in and say things about themselves and what they've been doing. And one woman wrote, "I was in a relationship for 12 years and never once posted him. We broke up recently and I don't think I'll ever post a man." And I love that for her. But because it's not bitterness for her, it's boundaries. I remember being married and posting, perfect couple photos. That was pure performance. Behind the scenes, it was, gaslighting, silence, confusion, at some point, therapy twice a week, all of that. But online, we looked fine. So when Vogue calls out that we're collectively done performing love, I truly felt that in my divorced bones. Because it's not about, oh, I have a man anymore. It's I have my peace. And I think that's like a very interesting energy shift. And like women are finally opening their eyes a bit and saying like, I want peace over validation. But like, I really want to sit with the question that I think skews it a little bit deeper is, why was being single ever shameful? Like, I don't know if it was just me or my world, but like, I almost felt like society was saying like being single was shameful. Like, who taught us that alone means less than? I feel like for so long, single was like a temporary status. You weren't living, you were like waiting to be picked, waiting to be introduced as someone's something. But like this idea that Vogue points out now, and I quote, it's become more of a flex to pronounce yourself single. That made me laugh and exhale at the same time. Truly. Because like 10 years ago, saying I'm single almost sounded like an apology. But now it's a boundary, almost like a declaration, a little bit of a power move. Even divorce, as I've said, like divorce even in the past 10 years has changed to cunty. Not because you're failing, but because you're choosing yourself in something you didn't work. But like being single isn't a failure, it's freedom. And it's choosing alignment over attachment or codependency. But our culture still hasn't fully caught up. That's always going to be the truth. Because we still treat marriage and coupling as like the final exam of womanhood almost. And if you're like 30 something and single, people always ask, why? Why are you single? How are you single? You should not be single. Like, it's not embarrassing to be single. It's embarrassing that we were ever taught to be ashamed of it. When I was married, people treated me like I had made it. Then I got divorced and it was like I had been demoted to work in progress or like even worse, you know? But like, truthfully, divorce was the promotion. Singlehood was where I actually started living. And that sounds fucking crazy, but it's the truth. Where I remembered like what peace felt like, where I stopped measuring my worth by how much I was loved and started measuring it by how much I was at peace. And like single isn't a punishment. It's a reset, in my opinion. And no one should feel ashamed of like reclaiming their own space. And this episode isn't about hating men or hating relationships or hating marriage. This whole idea of girl hang up isn't as well, or the His Loss Hotline. It's just truly about owning yourself and like recentering you. Speaking of like recentering, let's talk about something also really important in this whole idea. And it's like what happens after you drop the shame. It's all about, like the decentering of men. Like, this isn't anti-love in a way. It's anti-performance. Vogue touches on this too. That straight women are finally confronting what other communities, non-straight communities, we love the gays and the theys, but have already knew. Our value can't be defined by who wants us. When I was married, everything I did was filtered through him. What would keep him happy? What would keep the peace? And by the end, I didn't even know what I liked anymore. And like decentering men was the only way to find myself again. Which at first, it was weird. It was super weird and like kind of quiet and like uncomfortable. But like in that quiet, that's like your life coming back in a way. Like decentering men doesn't mean hating them. It means finally being the main character in your own life. It's almost like that idea of like dropping codependency. I could get into a whole episode about codependency, and maybe I will, because My therapist has literally said I am so codependent and I'm working on it. I'm reading a book called what's the book called? Hold on, let me look it up. It's called Codependent No More. Let me look who it's by. You can tell I haven't read it in a hot sec. By Melody Beattie. It's really fucking good. Apparently she's fantastic. But we can get into codependency. It is also a huge issue. But like that's also about like finally becoming the main character of your own life in a way. But back to decentering men, because that's what we're talking about. Like I think decentering men is such an important aspect of society now, and it's really not just a feminist thing that's like so radical. It shouldn't be. But for real, like this whole conversation is about redefining what fulfillment means. And it's not I'm in love, it's I'm at peace. And like what really I think is really interesting, and like the Vogue article has really like put a preview or like a think piece on it, is like, why is this shift happening now? And I think it has a lot to do with like social media has turned love into like this PR almost. And we're finally like unsubscribing from it. Or at least some are. Some are definitely still not, because, you know, that's society. But like women are financially and emotionally independent in ways that make being chosen feel irrelevant and has never happened before. Because like women are realizing we don't need to post a relationship to prove that we're worthy of one. Something really interesting in the Vogue article that Joseph writes was women are posting their partners less, opting for subtler signs. The soft launch is now 2 pints in a pub, a hand on a table, or the back of someone's head. And I think it's like funny because it's also like we're reclaiming privacy in a way. We're reclaiming the parts of ourselves that don't need public validation. And like maybe that's the future of relationships, quiet and private and mutually grounded. Maybe the new goal is peaceful connection over performative coupling. I don't know. But like your life, the whole idea for me is like your life doesn't start when someone chooses you. It starts when you choose yourself. And I know that's cliche, and I know everyone's going to be like, of course it does. Of course it does. Yay. No, like we're actually having real conversations of what being in a relationship is like for women and decentering men. And that doesn't mean you hate men. That just means you are choosing yourself. You are choosing yourself first. And then you can get into a relationship with a man if you want, or a woman, or whoever you want to get in a relationship with. Or don't be in a relationship at all. And that's completely fine. I just think it's nice to finally be having that tough conversation, and like women are finally waking up to it. But like whether you're like single or divorced or in a situationship or like accidentally soft launching a guy who doesn't even know he's being launched, just remember like your worth is not in a relationship status. And like being single isn't a dirty word. I truly think it is a declaration that you refuse to settle for less than peace, or like settle for just, you know, mediocre. We don't need mediocre in our lives, babies. Okay. We have enough of that. We have enough of that in this horrible world. But yeah, that is kind of like my spiral for this episode. I know it was a lot, and I don't even know how long I've been rambling for. But like my biggest takeaway for this like episode is, if like being single has ever felt shameful, that's only because like someone taught you to measure your life by a man. And you don't owe anyone a love story to be valid or to be a person. And I know that sounds very drastic, but it's the truth. It's how we have been conditioned to be because we live in a patriarchy. And then like another takeaway that I think is like part of this episode is like decenter him and center you. Like the most magnetic thing you can be isn't taken, it's whole, you know? And then like really like this week, if I can like challenge you in a way, do one thing that this week is solely for you. No romantic context. If you're in a relationship, it's just for you. And just something that makes you feel alive in your own skin. And I don't know what that is. Go take a pottery class or go get your nails done. I know this is such a bad, what is it? Side take? Tangent. There it is. But yeah, I just ripped off like half of my toenail by ramming my toe into my bed frame. It was really, really good. So yeah, now in my big toe, I have half a toenail. Super amazing. But like maybe for me this week, I will go get my nails done because that's choosing me. That's making me feel alive in my own skin. I don't know, go for a walk. Do what makes you happy and is not about romantic like context or love. And yeah. Go out there, do shit. Be your own person. And like thanks for maybe what you're doing is choosing to listen to his lost hotline, you know, like to make you feel alive in your own skin. That is always an option, babes. You can also listen to all our episodes, maybe, if you want. I'm just throwing it out there. But if you like this episode, share with your friend who's tired of explaining why she's single, and tell her she doesn't owe a world a reason. She just owes herself some peace. But follow us on Instagram and TikTok and Facebook at Girl Hang Up. Just remember, it's his loss.
I'm sorry, but the person you called has a voicemail box that has not been set up yet. Goodbye.